We actually vet our sponsors. We don't just take their money and run like a Butterbar lieutenant lost on the land nav course. Are you finally ready to plant your flag and claim your territory? Maybe it's time to use that VA loan to buy a home. Or hell, maybe you're looking to refinance and put some extra cash in your pocket for more questionable life decisions. Either way, the Veterans Mortgage Source, powered by Canopy Mortgage, has your six. Look, buying a home or refinancing can feel like getting overrun on a bad op. Chaotic, confusing, and full of obstacles that make no damn sense. That's where Corey and his team come in. They're like the QRF of home loans, ready to pull you out of the chaos and guide you to the best program for you. And trust me, they'll answer all your questions. Yeah, even the dumb ones. Whether you're a salty vet or fresh out of barracks still trying to figure out where your TA-50 went. Great service, solid rates, and a team that actually understands the military life. That's why all of us here at Veteran Trash Talk trust them to do right by every veteran in their family. Ready to lock it in? Give Corey a call or shoot him a text at 808-699-7874. That's 808-699-7874. Don't wait. Unless you like overpaying and getting treated like an FNG. The Veterans Mortgage Source is powered by Canopy Mortgage, LLC. All loans are subject to credit and property approval.
Hey, what's up, Mental Health Nation? Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. Sorry if my eye looks a little off kilter. I'll get into that here in a little minute about what's going on there. I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. Lynn's not going to be on tonight. She's getting back from a cruise and everything, so you just have me. Have lots of things to talk about. As you know, I just love to talk about so many things, and it's so important that the stuff I'm going to talk about. Christmas is 8 days away, so I'm going to go out tomorrow with my friend Pepe. We're going to do some Christmas shopping. But before we get into all that, I want to talk about these little squares that we have around the screen right here. And so you got that first square there, for Reeds Across America. They're getting ready to lay those reefs down during the holidays like they do every year at the Veterans Cemetery. You can scan that QR code. And for a little as $10, $15, you can share a reef that's placed on that, I'm assuming next year, since this year's probably already covered. But hey, give them a chance, give them a look. See, you can also personalize that wreath also, or maybe you just want to donate to them to keep the cause going because it's truly wonderful what they do. And you may want to look into maybe, hey Brian, what's going on? Maybe you want to look into maybe just donating or maybe showing up and helping them lay the reefs down. They're always looking for volunteers there, so it's something to look into. As long as you do know that Reeds Across America also has a radio station. So Reeds Across America Radio replays my podcast at Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. Super easy to find. You just download the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, or the Odyssey app, and you search for Reeds. For Reach Across America Radio, and you got my great podcast, but all the great podcasts and all the great music they show. Just keep in mind that they do run about a week or two behind with the podcast. So, so you won't be exactly watching this one on this Friday. It'll be one that was a couple weeks ago. But hey, it's a great way to catch back up in case you miss it. But as I talk about all the time with 10th Mountain Bourbon Whiskey, they have really great bourbon whiskey out there. I was a Scotch drinker for a lot of years. So give them a look, see what the other website and the little QR code to save you some money. But I tell you, the cordial they got is pretty amazing with the vanilla and sage. And if you drink or if you like that, you should really give it a try. But the moonshine is quite good too. And I really like the vodka. I got it a couple of times. I'm a type of guy that I just drink whatever I feel like. Like, Last night I was drinking red wine and a shot of tequila, and I never would have thought in a million years that red wine and Bianco tequila, white tequila, would go well together. A friend of mine told me about it, and I was like, I'll try it. Surprisingly enough, they go pretty well together. So I drank that. So there we put the website up there. It's 10th Mountain Whiskey.com with the code VTT. Save yourself 10%. And there's a cordial. I got to put my glasses on now. Chris, throw it up on the screen. Yes, that is. What's that made with, Chris? It's vanilla and sage, right? Is that correct for that? Yeah, I
It's
think it
a
was.
sage-infused peach vanilla bourbon.
Yes, sage infused peach. Yes, that is really, really awesome. You guys should really give that a try. You will love it. I know the Italians out here, Pepe and Claudio and his friend Yuri, absolutely love the cordial. So every time I go in, I always try to get them a bottle.
It's Buddy Beckwith's favorite.
Is it?
Yep.
It's good stuff. I mean, just to sip it, it's really good. So, hey, give them a look. So, you might have missed out getting your delivery before Christmas, but you can get it for New Year's. You can get it for New Year's Eve. So, give them a look. See, go to that website, and they'll be able to help you out. With the video that you showed before, interest rates are coming down. They're going to drop again. And so, if you want to look at refinancing, maybe we want to do some remodeling. Maybe you want to build a he shed or she shed in the backyard because spring's coming around the corner. It's Christmas coming up, then January, then you hit February and March. Scan that QR code, and for Veterans Mortgage, powered by Camping Mortgage, be more than happy to answer any questions you have or help you out with that. And you know what? If you bought a house and the interest rates are high, it doesn't have to go down too much to save you quite a bit of money. So give them a look, see, hey, if anything, just let them, look at your loan and see if they can help you out or if you have any questions. PCS to Paradise, they're out there in Hawaii. And so if you're PCSing out to Hawaii, scan that QR code. They'd be more than happy to help you. I tell you, they did a wonderful job with some of my friends here and helping them find their dream home out there in Hawaii. And so give them a scan, see, and have them find you, hey, if a dream home, go live on the beach. You're there for 3 years. Why not? Right? Go live on the beach and see how it is. So, one thing I want to jump into tonight, I accomplished something the other day that I've been doing for the last 10 years. And I'm going to have Chris go ahead and throw the photo up on the screen. And then for the people listening to the radio program, I'll describe to you what it is. We'll let it load. I'll get a drink of water while it's loading. There we go. So I have officially completed 10 Army 10 milers in a row. And so I'm wearing this year's shirt. It's the 250th anniversary of the Army. And then this was this year's medal. And for all you guys online, on the radio program, I'm showing this year's Army medal right there. So very proud of that. It's not that easy to, constantly do something. So you know what? My goal was to run 10 miles in a row, and I've now accomplished that goal. But why stop, right? I'm still able to run. I'm still able to do it. So I think I'm going to continue it and maybe go for 20. Maybe 20 years running the Army 10 mile in a row. I might have to try that. We'll see. But it felt pretty good to do that. There was a couple of years there. I think it was 19 and 20. I was dealing with a lot of injuries. Had a hard time with the 10 milers. With the 10 miler, but I was still able to finish it. I don't remember what I had going on. What did I have going on? I had a hip issue or knee issue, something I don't remember, but I was still able to finish it. So my goal is now I'm going to do it next year. Maybe I'll go to 15. We'll try 15 in a row and see if that works out. But it doesn't have to be 10 miles. You can set yourself a goal. Maybe just walking 15 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day or whatever you're able to do physically. Because, physical fitness or physical health is so important to your mental health. We talked about this last show with your mindset. And I was reading today on that. Your mind, if you have a positive mindset, you can physiologically change your body more so than any supplemental vitamin you can take. And that makes a lot of sense because if your mind constantly has your anxiety level up, it has you constantly in a state of, flight or fear mode or whatever, that wears your body down. But if you have a more positive aspect in your mind, even if you're sick and you're thinking, hey, I'm going to get over this, it's not going to last, my body's strong, I'm going to fight it, I'm a fighter, I'm a warrior, I'm a mental health warrior, and I'm going to do this, and give yourself a pep talk. It can have a profound effect on yourself. And so, one thing I'm going to talk about real quick, I don't know if you can tell, maybe not so much on camera, but I do have damage in my left eye coming out of Iraq. I don't exactly sure how it happened, but it's susceptible to allergies. And if you guys remember last year, I was having a horrible time with it when they finally popped up, and my left eye just gets really, really red, and I get this really red line on it, and it can be painful and sensitive to light. And I'm not too for sure what triggers it. I think mold triggers it, but I found out mold does trigger it. How did I find that out? Is Christian, go ahead and take that photo down with the medals. Uh, is a friend of mine. He was deployed, and we always have to support our deployed soldiers. And he was having some issues before he deployed. He was here in Italy, but then he got sent to Cuba. And I had talked to him, and a couple of times the MPs had to come, and him and his wife were just having a lot of issues. I'm not going to go too much into that, but let's just say he was a very stressful situation for him before he left to go on deployment. And so he buys a new BMW. He has a friend watching that, and he has another car, Toyota Corolla. And I thought he had somebody watching both cars, but I guess he didn't. So on Sunday, he texted me and said, "Hey, can you go look at my car?" And I thought he was talking about the BMW. And he said, "No, my Toyota." And I completely forgot about it. I said, "Yeah, I can look at it." Now, mind you, we're in Italy now. It's in December. And so this time of the year, it's a rainy season, right? So it rains a lot. And last month, Lloyd with his, I got to tell a story about Lloyd too. I'll tell that real quick. We had 2 weeks of solid rain. I mean, like torrential down rain, right? And so I go up to his Toyota. This is Sunday morning because I wait for all the cars that were parked around to leave because the car's been sitting there for 6 months now. Both windows are down 3 inches. I was like, oh my God. And so I pop the hood, I get in, of course it's completely dead. And so I get my Yaris and I hook the battery up and jump it and get it started. But as you can imagine, the car is it's got trash in it, and it's got water in it, and it's still warm in here in Italy. So you can imagine what was growing inside of it. And so I get the car running, I get the windows rolled up, and I drive it over the trash, and I throw out all the molded trash and everything in it. And then I took the floor mats out. I had the floor mats hanging up for about 5 hours, and they were still dripping water after 5 hours of hanging them up. Now, this is a European Toyota Corolla, so that's a good thing. And the reason that is because they don't have all the sound dampening insulation underneath the carpet like we have in America. And so I was able to vacuum all the water out very quickly and get it out. And my eye just kept kind of bothering me throughout the day, and I didn't think much of it. And got the car all done, went to bed Sunday night, woke up Monday morning, and my eye is just completely beet red. It's sensitive to light. It's hurting. And of course, I don't have the allergy drop, so I immediately make an appointment and go to the eye doctor. Luckily, it's nothing inside my eye. It's outside my eye. It's allergies. He can see it, so he gave me the drops. And so I put the drops in twice a day, and it's getting better. But you know what? It's okay. I got his car. I got it moved. I got it parked right. I did the mold mediation. I sprayed it down real heavily with vinegar. So I'm going to let it sit for a couple of days while I go out of town. And I got it running. And I'm just going to try to and he broke a mirror, but he bought a new mirror, the driver's side mirror. So I'm just going to try to get those things fixed on it. Because that way, when he comes back for deployment, he's going to have to deal with some heavy crap. And if I can just make that part of his life a little bit better, and I don't mind working on cars, you guys know I love that. Then I think it's worth me having to deal with my eye infection and everything. I'll deal with that. But, for him, it's probably means a lot to him to have that done and taken care of. And he left his apartment not in a great order either. And when I come back from vacation, I'll work on getting it cleaned up. And he's not coming back till March. So I'll try to just make things a little bit better for him when he comes home. Because you know how it is, right? When things are going bad or not quite as good, little thing can just add up and just add more stressors to your life. And, if you can help somebody like I'm helping somebody, and just kind of take those stressors off a little bit. It's the holiday season. I'm going to talk about Christmas here in a little bit. And just sometimes just doing those little things can really help a lot. And so if you have the ability or can, to help out a neighbor, to help out a friend, help out a deployed soldier, go ahead and try to do that as much as you can, because it's very important, and they really do. I know he appreciates it. He's a good guy, just going through some shit right now. We all go through that, right? We all go through crap. I go through crap all the time. Sometimes I just can't seem to catch a break, but that's okay. That's life, right? We can't always have good things going on. And so I brought up Lloyd. I was going to share the photo with Chris, but I forgot to send it to him. But Lloyd had his final 2 flag football games this weekend on Saturday, and he did quite well with it. Let's see what he's saying. Oh, hang on a second. I'm gonna send the photo to Chris. Hang on, wait 1 second. Anyway, so he had his final game, and I'm very proud of him. And so let me find the photo, and I'm going to send it to Chris. I'm going to have him pop it up while you guys tell you guys the story. And so, true to form. Let's see here. Where's that? Yes. Okay. So I sent them to Chris. There's 2 of them. You can post it either one. I sent it on Messenger. So Lloyd's in his first game, of course, in his flag football season. It was mixed kids, so he has teenagers and he has high school kids in his flag football team. And so these 2 photos I'm showing you right there, the first one right there, what you're seeing is Lloyd's running to the end zone. And he intercepted the ball and ran it back for a touchdown. Now, Lloyd is very fast. And he's probably one of even though he's got 15-year-olds on his team, he runs faster than they do. And so it happened so fast. I didn't get a video of it. I was kind of upset by that, but it's kind of hard to see. But he has the biggest grin on his face as he intercepted the ball, and the closest person to him was probably about 20 yards behind him and he intercepted the ball in a group of people, and he just took off like a rocket. So I'm super happy and super proud of him for that. And the team was all cheering him and everything. And so they wind up winning both their games on Saturday. And so that was really good, really proud of him for that. And so, it's always fun when you see your kids, excel at something. Even though some of the kids on the team are bigger than he is, he's not afraid to get in there and mix it with them. But it was quite nice to see him go ahead and catch that and run it in for a touchdown. So congratulations to Lloyd. Dad's very proud of you. And you know what? Next up is baseball for him in the spring, and he loves baseball, as you guys all know. He loves being a catcher, so we're going to try to find him a baseball camp or something to get into. And maybe look at some type of a track for him, because all the guys on his team says he ought to go out for track. You can go ahead and take those away, Chris. I just wanted to share that real quick with you guys. A proud dad moment of him intercepting the ball and running back for a touchdown, and nobody was close. Nobody's going to catch him. Nobody's going to catch him. Nobody's going to grab that flag, because that kid took off. And so that's super proud about that. So that's, that makes me happy, right? So if I was having a bad, stressful day about my eye and the pain, it's hurting me now with the lights in my eye. But that's okay. That's a good thought to have. Christmas is right around the corner. Christmas is next week. I hope you guys are all ready for Christmas. I hope you're looking forward to it. It's kind of sad, a little bit sad in my family, right? Because my oldest son's 21. Of course, Lloyd's 11. And so Santa Claus really is a thing now. It's kind of sad when that goes away, right? Because I kind of like playing Santa Claus. I kind of like getting up early in the morning or wrapping the presents late at night. And we still do the elf on the shelf. Now, at least we still got that going on. So I'll do something silly with the elf. You guys saw me post the other day about elf being with the bull. And so, yeah, Brian, it's pretty cool they did that. So, yeah, elf on the shelf was messing around with bull. Bull's right here. He's always by my side. So it's kind of fun to do the elf on the shelf thing. And so I'll continue to do that. But, with Christmas, it's always important to have certain traditions that we all do in our families. And I know that my family in Missouri, they have their traditions. And, of course, our traditions change a little bit here since we've been in Italy. So what we do is we take a trip. So we're going to leave Saturday and go to Bolzano. And then from Bolzano, we're going to go an hour north to Snells, where we're going to go skiing. And so we're going to go up there for a week skiing. We're going to spend a week there. And then after about 6 days, we're going to leave there and go over to, where we're going to? Somewhere in Switzerland. and take a train over to Switzerland for 5 days, and then we'll come back to Naples after that. And so that's kind of our tradition now, is to take trips, but we'll take some of our Christmas gifts with us. And so on Christmas morning, Lloyd will have a gift or two to open there while we're at the ski resort. So it'll be great fun. So, hey, don't post down in the comments what your guys' family tradition that you do during the holidays. It's nice and good. Lloyd's a little bit depressed right now. He's got 2 of his friends getting ready to PCS, because, the Navy PCS is year round. And so he's lost a lot of his friends, but that's the military brat life, right? That's hard on kids. I think a lot of parents don't realize in the military that, you're moving around every 3 years, but everybody moves at different times, mostly. And, for Lloyd, he had 3 of his really close friends left last year, and then now he's made new friends. And then the one kid that comes over mostly is leaving again. He's leaving actually 2 days. He's going to Bahrain. And so I just found out today that he's moving. Lloyd just came home and said, I didn't realize that. And then his other friend, Jameson, who actually Jameson's dad's an emergency room doctor here, but Jameson sometimes takes vacations with us. And so he travels with us when we go to the islands here in Italy or different places, and he's leaving this summer. So Lloyd's going to have to once again find new groups of friends. So, but that's life. That what makes military kids resilient. But also with that, it's important to understand the mental health of your children, and just make sure everything's okay with him. Lloyd's struggling in math this year. We did have to get him a tutor. He's now starting to turn a corner with his math. You try to give your kids the best tools possible, right? And not to stress him out too bad, or not to get him too upset. But he was struggling with it. And I think it's because he's in 6th grade. And so in 6th grade, you don't have the same teacher. And so you don't get to know the mannerisms and things like that when you have the same teacher for 7-8 hours a day. Every hour he's changing to a different teacher. And I think that's why he's struggling, because normally he does quite well on math. And he's just making silly, simple mistakes. But Miss Gavin, who is actually his 5th grade teacher, is his tutor. And she's really doing a good job with him, helping him out. So, hey, along with that, what's your Christmas traditions? I know that a lot of us out there, we have, you have neighbors. Maybe you have that older neighbor that maybe didn't have friends or family around. Maybe they don't have Christmas decorations up, or maybe you haven't talked to them. And so maybe you might want to give them a look-see or a ring on the phone, or just seeing how they're doing. Just make sure everything's okay with them. It's always important to look out for each other. And I know that, back in the States, in the small town I lived in, there was always, a couple of the elderly people that didn't have family around, and we would always try to go visit them and stuff, and just anything just to say hi. And they always like seeing the boys and the kids, and it's just, it just takes but a minute to go and do that, or say hi, or get somebody make them some food or something, just anything you can do, or volunteer, just to make somebody's day a little bit brighter. One thing that I used to do in the States, that I did for a couple of years, is I would go into Kmart, and I would pay people's layaways off. They didn't know I did it. Nobody knew I did it. I didn't really ever talk about it till now. But I did that for several years. I'd go in and spend, $500 or $1,000, and just pay off some people's layaway, because I figured if you got Christmas gifts on layaway and you're making payments on it, then, your money's a little tight for you. So I would quietly just go in, and I paid cash. They didn't know who my name was. Of course, I got the receipt that it was paid, and I would just do that. And so, of course, Kmart's not around anymore, but so, that's something maybe you can do too, to look at it. But if you yourself is struggling through this time of the year, and I know how it is, and I want to talk about that for a moment, and then I'm going to talk about some fun stuff. But if the holidays are a rough time for you, and you're always in that funk during the holiday season, right? Maybe you're starting now, and let's see, what's it? Do you run the live stream on Facebook only, or YouTube as well? I actually run my live stream on TikTok, X, and Rumble right now, and it also runs on Facebook. And so it goes across many different platforms. So you can watch on X, Rumble, and my TikTok page, and then also here on Facebook and VeteranTrashTalk and Gruntworks. So it's all across the board. But so if you are, oh yeah, we're working on my YouTube page. Yeah, we're not live on YouTube. It'll get uploaded on YouTube, but we're live on the other pages. Let me correct that. So I'm currently live right now on X, TikTok, and Rumble, and Facebook currently. But if you're the person that's always kind of depressed during holiday seasons, I want you to think about something for a moment. Why do you think that is? And maybe you just need to get a pencil and write down, what was it, a traumatic event that occurred in December? Is it because you've had life-changing things go on? Maybe you're no longer in a relationship, or maybe you're having financial issues, or something else is going on. But it always seems to happen around this time of the year, right? And so there's a pattern of things going on. And so maybe write it down, right? Or if you have the Ear Kick app, which you guys know I talk about the Ear Kick, the mental health app, you can do notes in there, and it tracks weather patterns and all kinds of stuff. But let's just write it down. And just to see, sometimes when you write something down, you really get to see it for the first time. This was hard for me to do, right? So when I was having, PTSD issues and other mental health problems, anxiety and things, they always would say journal, write it down and stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's stupid. I ain't got time for that. Yeah. And no. But then I started doing it. And then I realized that it really helps. And so think about why it is at this time of year that you always are in that funk, and write it out. And then once you write it out, think about, if possible, what can you do to change that, right? And I'm not big on big changes, right? You guys know I talk about this all the time. If you do too big of a change too quickly, you're going to set yourself up for failure. So what little thing can I do? And maybe the first thing you need to do is a little bit positive self-talk. Talk to yourself. Maybe it's important to give yourself a pep talk every day. To say, yeah, I know things may be crappy right now, but it's going to get better. And I know it's going to get better because I'm going to start being so negative towards myself. I'm going to treat myself more positively. It sounds silly, but it really does work. And if you do that enough, eventually, things will get better. Let me see. I'll put my glasses on here. Somebody says something. I want to jump in on top to see. Yes, it's very important to get outside and get a different routine and get outside your four walls of your house. Social media is very good about that. You can reach out to people on Facebook. You can reach out to people on TikTok. You can watch podcasts. There's so many different ways that you can not be alone nowadays, where 30 years ago you didn't have that option. And so it's very easy to do that. Sometimes social media gets a bad rap, but I really think social media can really help a lot of people in a lot of good ways. But you know what? I had a friend of mine, and she's a flight attendant, and she would never go out by herself. And I was like, if you feel safe, go out by yourself and have a drink, or do something different. And so she tried it, and she realized that she could have fun. And to her, it was distressing because she used to go out with her coworkers, where her coworkers, when they're on the plane, she's their boss. And so she never really could relax and have fun. But if you just go to a bar and watch a soccer match because she likes watching soccer, and visit with the people next to you, you can just be yourself. You can let your steam off. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to be guarded. And so she's done that a couple of times, and it's really made herself, she just really enjoyed it, and helps her de-stress before she has to get back on the plane and fly back to the States. And so it's just little things you can do to change it. But if something is always occurring, right, and I know this, I always had issues, obviously, with September 11th, my suicide attempt. My suicide attempt actually occurred, my unaliving attempt, I forgot I was on TikTok, actually occurred 5 days from now, back in 2002. It was on December 22nd. And those days like that used to really bother me. I used to really get depressed. And when I started journaling and writing things down, it really made me change that aspect of it. And so now I really don't even think about it. I mean, I think about it, but I don't think about it. It doesn't depress me, it doesn't upset me. One thing I started doing after the podcast is because, mental health, I talk about a lot of things, is I go for a walk at night. And mind you, we get done with the podcast, it's, 12 o'clock here, 12:30, because Chris and I usually visit after the show. And then I go walk for an hour. Sometimes I walk longer than that. Sometimes I run. I run or walk. It just depends what I'm feeling. But I found out that relaxes me more so than having a drink. And so I'll go out and I'll do a 5K. Sometimes I'll do an 8K or 10K or whatever I'm feeling. But walking outside here in Italy on support site at midnight, it's so quiet. And for me, just to have the quiet, the stillness, the calmness of the night, I think really sets my brain in a way that allows me to sleep better. And I just enjoy it. And of course, there's nobody out, and so I don't have to worry about, talking people, seeing people, other than the MPs that drive by, and of course, I wave at them as they're doing their patrols on base. But I just find that to be very relaxing. That's something I just started doing 2 months ago, and I really enjoy it. And I think even when we go skiing up at the ski resort, I think at night, when Lloyd and Crystal and everybody goes to bed, I think I'm just gonna go outside and walk around. I know it's gonna be cold, but that's okay. It's very quiet where we're going to. Actually, the place we stay at, the monks there only spoke on Sundays. During the week, they never spoke. And so they always talk about enjoying the silence up here on the top of this mountain. And I'll post pictures about it. We've been several times to this place. I've done several photos and videos, but I'll take photos this time so you guys see what I'm talking about. But that's just something, a little change that I made, just to go to walk at night and to think about it and just to feel the stillness of the night. It made a profound change on me. So as you're making your list and you're thinking about things, and if you're in financial dire straits or something else is going on in your life, just think about little things you can do to change it, right? And I'll talk about financial stuff. Usually in January, I talk about that because, you spend too much for Christmas and the bills start hitting. And we'll talk about a plan and how to make that a little bit better. But just know that, each day can get a little bit better. Each day, you should look forward to something going on. Like one thing they always talked about is, that when you get out of bed, the first thing in the morning is make your bed, right? In the military, we always had to do that, right? We were told to. But there's a reason behind that. Because if you get up in the morning and you get out of bed and you make your bed, you've already accomplished your first task of the day and you already got your foot set to be successful. Something as simple as making the bed. Now, I've gotten very good that I can make the bed while I still lay in it. And so I'll make the one side of the bed and then I'll slide out of the bed and I just got to fold the blanket. So that's one thing I do. Of course, I don't flop around in the bed. When I go to bed, I usually don't move around very much. But so practice making the bed while you're still in it. Make sure you get those corners nice and tight while you're there. It's kind of tricky, but I don't do 45-degree corners anymore when I do my bed. I don't do that anymore. But the Green Logbook talks about veterans' mental health. Okay. So, Victor, thanks for posting that. People check that out. There's so many different ways to look at mental health, right? So, one, we're human beings, right? And I think sometimes we forget that. That's just like when you go to the gym, right? I was a personal trainer and a master fitness trainer. So I'm going to talk about this because it's important. When you go to the gym and work out, everybody's different. Not just fitness-wise, physiologically, everybody is different. And when people go and they try to generalize working out as a one thing fits all, it never works out, right? Some people's dietary needs are differently. Some people will respond quicker to cardio than others. Some will respond quicker to lifting weights than others. And so you really need to get to know the person and get to know yourself and what your goals are when you go to the gym and work out. And that's so important. And mental health is the same way. I talk about a lot of different things based on my experience with PTSD and having a TBI and injuries and dealing with those. But there's also other people out there that had to deal with drug addictions, which I never had to deal with. I never dealt with alcoholism or any of those things. And so you can go out and find those podcasts and look at how other veterans deal with their mental health. And maybe you might be able to find help that way. We got Veterans Trash Talk Hour here on Saturdays, and there are other shows. And so those things that you can go out and look at to learn how, because it's something I'd always talk about all the time is if you have PTSD, you've had a traumatic event in your life, the stuff never pops up when things are going good, right? It always pops up when things are going bad, right? And it's just like, I helped my friend out with this car, and now my eye is all messed up now. It's allergies, but it'll go away, right? It's gonna go away. I know it will. It always does. I take my allergy pill, and then I start taking my allergy pill again. I start taking my raw honey, and then I put the drops in, and then eventually, it's just a little embarrassing to go out because my eyes beat red. It looks like I've been smoking. Of course, I don't. But it is what it is, right? I was helping somebody out, and I got to feel good about that. But that could have very easily sent me down a slippery slope, but I didn't allow myself to go down that slippery slope. And so you have to learn how to stop that. Hey, Scott, what's going on, man? Thanks for tuning in. Hello. And so it's important to do that. And so, it's mental health is such deep and personal to everybody, to that person that's going through it. And it's okay. We say it all the time. It's okay not to be okay. But, what does that mean? Well, that means that if you're having a bad day or a crappy week or crappy month, that's just life. It can get better if you choose to make it better. If you don't choose to make it better, then it won't get better. But you have to find different ways in dealing with your depression, your anxiety, when they pop up, because it's not going to pop up when things are good. And so if you start journaling or writing things down or using the different mental health apps out there like EarKick, it will start to give you the different tools and things you need when those things pop up, when they happen. And, one thing I deal with sometimes is I deal with a lot of anxiety. Sometimes with my brain, because I do deal with a lot of pain in my body, but I deal with it from injuries I suffered in 34 years of the service. But I try to keep a positive mind on it. And we talked about this on the last podcast with Chris. Is your mind is such a important tool, both in your mental health, your physical being, and your spiritual being. People don't understand how powerful your mind is. People don't understand also that the one thing in your life you can control is your thoughts and your mind. But yet we always let this control us. I did for many years. And, once you learn how to not allow your mind to take you down a rabbit hole, and I know it's not hard. I know it's not easy. I get it. I've done it. My mind does it to me. I'll get a pain in my neck, or I'll get, a headache going up the back of my head, or my eye thing will happen. And it takes me down a rabbit hole, right? Like, oh, I'm having a heart attack, or, oh, I got a brain tumor, or, oh, my resting heart rate's 4 beats higher than it was yesterday. So something's wrong with me, or, this, that, and the other. And my mind just keeps doing it. And then I have to learn how to stop that. Like, no, no, I've had enough checks done on my heart that I know there's nothing wrong with me, right? Because my anxiety maybe go to the doctor too many times, right? So I know that. It's like my doctor told me, if you having pains in your chest and you move your head left or right, up or down, and the pain switches, you're not having a heart attack. That's my issues in my C4 through C7 with nerves. And so, that's one reason I work out so much, because I learned in physical therapy that if I keep my muscles strong, then I have less issues with my back. And so that's another reason why I work out at the gym, is because it keeps me from taking medications. And as long as I keep my back and my body strong, then I have less issues. And so I'm very lucky in the fact that I'm able to go and do that. And plus, working out at the gym also is a good stress release for me. And, so that's kind of important to think about that. But, with the Christmas season coming up, and, if you can't quite get everything, if you can't quite go see your family, please take time to at least call them, say, hey, what's going on? How are things going? And, just do a self-check on yourself. Like I said, let's get that piece of paper out. Let's write down, If you always have a hard time this time of the year, let's figure out why you're doing that. I'm guaranteed there's a pattern, and there's something that's probably went on that you never thought about. And we all know that with trauma, it always has a tendency to come up in patterns, right? Like mine was dates. It was September 11th. It was October 3rd with the boat rescue. It was, yes, daily gratitude does go a long ways. And so, let's look at that, and let's just try that. And if you've never done it before, what do you have to lose? It's a pen and a piece of paper, right? Get your notebook right here. Right here. Here's a pencil. Write it down. You can do it. This is actually all the one I do all my Italian homework in. This is all my Italian homework. And so try that. And so one of the things I wanted to do before I end the show here, we got a couple minutes left. But I got this spill the tea thing. I used to read from it, and I was going to do it tonight, but since I'm by myself, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tell a funny story. And so one of the things here is, what is the dumbest way you've ever been injured? The dumbest way you've ever been injured. Hey, Big Earl, thanks for showing that out there about the Veterans Trash Talk. Appreciate that. But what's the dumbest way you've ever been injured? Okay, now I have several different stories on how I've been injured, but this was probably the funniest one. I've never broken a bone, but I've cracked a couple of bones, and this is where I actually cracked 3 ribs. And so we were out fishing. The boat was in the dock there at Fort Monroe, and had Junior was about Lloyd's age now, and we're just fishing off the boat. And so I throw Lloyd, no, not Lloyd. Lloyd wasn't born yet. Junior throws his line, and it gets tangled up on shore. And so, by the way, you enter to go into the dock area. And so I decided to climb over the little walkway before you get to the dock, the walkway, right? And so I'm scaling across it. And then I'm climbing on the outside of the fence to step on the rocks to get his lure off. Well, when I stepped on the rocks, they're mossy, right? And so they were slick as ice. And so I slip and fall. And of course, I cut up my whole side because there's barnacles and all this other stuff on there. And I get his line off. And of course, Crystal was like, what's he over there flipping around on the rocks for? What's his problem? And of course, it hurt, right? And so I come back and I, of course, Crystal's a nurse. And I said, hey, it's kind of hurting. Does it look all right? And she just throws water on me. And she says, you're okay. And so we go back to fishing, but it was hurting. And so a couple of days later, I go to the doctor and find out that I did crack. I didn't break them. I cracked 3 ribs. So that was kind of funny. So apparently my wife doesn't have the X-ray vision that I thought she had being a nurse. I don't know. I don't understand that. I guess maybe she skipped that class that day. I don't know. But that was one of the dumbest ways I ever been hurt, was going over dock and slipping in and cracking 3 ribs. But hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank everybody for all that you've done this year. You've survived another year, and you got Christmas coming around, and we got the New Year's coming up. I hope everybody out there, and I hope everybody listening, has a very Merry Christmas and a very happy holidays and a very happy New Year. We are not going to do the show for 2 weeks, so we won't have a show on the 24th on Christmas Eve. We won't have a show on New Year's Eve because A, I'll be traveling, and B, we all need a break, right? We all need a break, and so we'll be back in January, the first part of January with the show. But, just like I said early on, you got Reads Across America. You can scan that QR code, and you can, for as little as $10, $15, you can donate a wreath. You can also volunteer, or you can just donate money to them. It's a great cause that they do, laying the wreaths, at the Veterans Memorial sites all across the United States and even outside of the United States. So it's pretty amazing what they do. I am still part of Arlington Cemetery, but you can also personalize one too if you want to. So you can scan that QR code, you go to the website, find out all the information there. And just like I said early on, you get Reads Across America Radio. We play this podcast at Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. Super easy to find. Just download the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, or the Odyssey app, and search for Reads Across America Radio for all the great podcasts, include this one. Now, on Reads Across America Radio, because they're two episodes behind, or 3 episodes behind, they will still be playing. And so if you want to listen to the Mental Health Warrior, you can still listen to it on the radio show at Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so you can still absolutely do that. They will not have a break. We will have a break from the live show for those 2 weeks. Unless I get a wild hair at my butt and decide to do the show. But, hey, with that, you got 10th Mountain. We did share their website. You go out there and you save a little bit of money with using the QR code VTT. And just check them out. I'm not going to say anything else. I talked about it at the beginning of the show. Go out to their website, look at the awards they won, and order your bottle. Just order your bottle of the bourbon. Just one bottle. You can do it. Just order one bottle of bourbon and give it a try, and then shoot me a text, DM me, and let me know what you think about it. With Veterans Mortgage, powered by Canopy Mortgage, you played the video at the beginning of the podcast. You can go back and re-listen to it. But scan that QR code to be happy to ask you any questions that you have with your VA loan. And hey, if you haven't done a VA loan, you need to look into it. Look into it. If you're a service member out there and you have not filed for your VA disability, if you're not using the VA benefits, shame on you. This will be a New Year's resolution to start using your VA benefits or apply for your VA benefits because it's so very important. And every veteran out there, everybody who ever served, I don't care if you served 6 months, 1 year, or 34 years like me, you need to make sure that you use those benefits that are entitled to you. And the VA loan is a very simple one to use and one that you should be using if you're not. But hey, if you have questions about it or you have concerns, scan that QR code. They'll be more than happy to help you and answer any questions that you may have. Along with that, you have PCS Paradise. They are out in Hawaii. So if you are still active duty service member and you are PCS into Hawaii, scan that QR code. They'll be more than happy to help you out. I got to take a sip of water. And, they'll help you out. You go live on the beach for 3 years. You're in Hawaii. Why not? Hawaii's, it's an island. You can go visit the other islands. You can do a lot of fishing, a lot of surfing, a lot of fun things to do. But with that, I always say that we are our brothers and sisters keepers out there. Just like I help my neighbor with his car, and sometimes just doing something little for somebody can mean all the world to them. And so, hey, if you got somebody that's quiet or, sometimes Brian and I will be texting each other, on Facebook and whatever, and just in the middle of the night, just if somebody reaches out to you or somebody's gone quiet or maybe you just had a gut feeling, right? Maybe you haven't talked to somebody and all of a sudden they pop into your head for no reason. Maybe you should give them a text message or give them a call or DM them or something. The universe is telling you something. That's why it popped into your head. And maybe you should reach out to them. And so with that, I want to once again miss everybody a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. And you know what? We are brothers and sisters keepers out there. So let's look out for each other. And we'll see you guys in January. Take care.